After I recorded that video yesterday, I was actually just sitting around thinking, and well, you can see here, I did a little bit of research, and I'm really just curious, like what would that actually look like? I have no idea. I might be going down a massive rabbit hole here. I'm just actually curious because, like, what is the likelihood of a wildfire actually starting, like on a normal day? And I actually had this thought driving through Palm Springs through the 74. It was windy coming out from the San Diego area, 10, of course, which goes all the way into Los Angeles. And I think there was a photo or two that I saw of a flipped over truck. It was extremely windy, just really highlighting the craziness of all the elements that built up to the fire starting a few days back. Okay, so first thing I think I would look at is like what's causing the fires? Like what is the likelihood? First thing is that almost all fires are essentially man-made, whether they're intentional or unintentional, at least in the state of California. Using some of these statistics, again, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna take it for what it is. Obviously, when I'm working with ChatGPT here, we're gonna be having to speak in hypotheticals. Okay, so we have debris, arson, so that's intentional fires. That's insane. Misuse of equipment, things that are flammable can spark, ignite. Campfires, okay. And discarded cigarettes. Don't have words. I don't have words there. And then just looking at a couple of these highlights, this is not climate change. Oh, that's another one. Like climate change. What in the world? Like, because keep in mind, right now, only 5% of wildfires are naturally occurring or natural disasters, based on historical data on wildfires, are going to prompters, satellite imagery, weather stations. Okay, crowdsourcing. Well, what sort of models? I don't want to misspeak, but let's just say a large contributing factor to the way that a premium would be calculated for insurance is there's a risk calculation or risk score associated to whatever you're insuring, and then there's a consideration of its inherent value through some combination of those factors and others. You get a calculation for a premium that you would pay annually, monthly, so on and so forth. And so I'm trying to understand what does the score look like when, say, like an insurance actuary, someone who's doing risk assessment to determine pricing from a mathematical standpoint. What are they do? Like, what conclusions are they coming to? Like, what percentage? Like, if you have a calculation of risk, you could in some way correlate that to the percentage chance of something happening, right? Like, if there is an extremely high risk of something occurring, that could mean 1% would correlate to there would be one event in a 100-year time span. 10% would be one event in a 10-year time span. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, what sort of models? Whoa. Cat models. Geospatial risk models. Holy crap. Human activity patterns. So when we were talking about management of the land, controlled fires or managing brush, managing trees, all that stuff, and we'll catch on some clips. Actually, let me go ahead and play something real quick here.
I mean, LA's dry. It's dry. All it takes is a good wind and fires. It was weird, man. When you see the walls of flame that are from the left to the right, everywhere you can see is flames. You see houses going up. It's spooky, man. It's spooky like a horror movie. So I was talking to this guy, and he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. We just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. and the wind's just blowing embers through
Well,
the
the
air.
winds
And
right
those embers
now
are
are
landing on roofs, and those houses
in
are
the
going
80s,
up, and they're
90s,
landing on
100
bushes,
miles per
and those
hour.
bushes are going
Gusts.
up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do.
Yeah. So when we talk about like all these things, I'm hopefully I'm starting to build a picture here as to like how to think about all this. And I mean, this started with just kind of like looking at, you know, how's the insurance company calculating it, but now I'm looking at this like, wow, how can you just understand the likelihood of something like this happening so that you can be aware, like so that we can prepare ourselves? Because like there's wildfires that could be happening in other places too in the future, and they will. Like no one wants that. I don't want that. Better understanding. But let's take it a step further. The premium. Oh right. Okay. Ah, see. So how close are you to fire hydrants, if they even have water, right? Safety precautions that would actually help lower those risk factors. So if you're able to lower your risk factor, then there's less risk of that taking place. So then you can have a cheaper policy. Okay. Okay. So basically, those two things are kind of what's going to determining like the condition of the property, condition, safety, all that being bundled into sort of the property, but a lot of factors being calculated there, and then the actual risk. With that, I want to jump to another clip that as I'm like looking into all this stuff, I'm
And protected. Got to take care of the floors, the floors of the forests. Very important. Look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have a much different, we're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem. And when it is, it's a very small problem. There are areas you can't even get to them yet. We're here.
wow. So Newsom, Trump, and Brown, Governor Brown, former governor, back in 2018. And so while we were watching that, I'm calculating some stuff in the background. I want to highlight something else, which is this is getting bigger, but this is the Kern River Water Bank.
Underground, where water can be stored reliably until it is needed. From above, water banks tend to look just like big puddles, but underneath, they can hold hundreds of thousands of gallons of water.
Where the Kern Water Bank.
So when there's a drought and you need water, well, what do? I mean, if you need money and you don't have any, hopefully you can go to a bank that has more funds. But when you have a drought and you have no water, you would go to a water bank, and this is in Central California.
Bank is where the Kern River would peter out. So it is naturally an excellent groundwater recharge area because over the millennia, it was built up with sand and gravel and all that good stuff rather than clay, which is hard to percolate water through. So it is naturally the best place to recharge water. I mean, it's almost incalculable to understand how valuable it is. First of all, hundreds of acres. And second of all, it is in the crosshairs of the Kern River, the Cross Valley Canal, and the California Aqueduct. So it has lots of ways to fill up. Kern Groundwater Bank continues to be, I think, the absolute jewel of banking and recharge in California, bar none.
To value a water bank, we have to multiply the going rate for an acre-foot of water times the full capacity of the water bank, which for Kern Water Bank is about 1.5 million acre-feet. But prices right now during a drought are much higher. At $1,000 an acre-foot, the resident stake.
By the way, this family owns 57% of this water bank in California.
Would be worth about $850 million. And at $2,000 per acre foot, their stake would be worth about $1.7 billion.
I've been asking around
like
about prices, and people are getting really kind of cagey about what they're paying for water and B, what they're trying to sell it for, because now it's getting really desperate. It's a lot of money. It's considered a public resource. Who's making that money? The public
And then you factor that in as well with, Governor Newsom doing something with reducing the dams, reducing water levels, reducing water available in the state of California. Oh, okay. I said 4.5 million yesterday. So if houses are worth 3.5 million, how much is the average, including fire protection, in that area? Okay. Annual premium. So divide that by 12. Show in monthly premium around the median house. $562 a month in homeowners insurance for about $7,000 a year. High risk. Premium rate of 0.15%. When you say high risk, what percentage, hypothetically, a home? This is a bit of a loaded question. Let's see if it can unpack this for us. While that's going, I'm going to play a couple other clips.
Burn down homes, the gas lines still weren't cut off, as the fires went only over ineptitude, as arsonists have now started fires across the city in lawless Santa Monica.
The trees caught fire, and then the palms are catching fire, so civilians are now lighting fires.
And even closer to downtown, as Koreatown appears to have someone burning garbage too.
Oh, that's on purpose. That has to be on purpose.
What is this?
So the entire city appears to be in flames.
Just look at the air quality. Like, even if you're not in...
As it can even be seen from the ocean, where airplane footage makes LA look like a scene from the apocalypse. But what is concerning is a fire up north is getting closer to Mount Wilson that has vital communication towers, as the news outlets have already lost normal connection.
Only reason that you're able to.
By the way, and she's about to say how she's using Starlink. I think Mount Wilson, for the time being, is being protected 1 to 3%. Okay. Okay. This is insane. There's a 5 to 10% chance of a wildfire damaging a home. That's insane. That means every 10 years there will be wildfire damage to those houses with the current conditions. So annually, or normally, under normal conditions, you might be sitting at a 1 to 3%. But what is it, 2 times a year? It's seeming like. I mean, normally we've got these winds, Santa Ana here in October, November, but we've got them here right now in January. And with winds up to 100 miles per hour, okay, this is going to be interesting.
See us right now is because of a Starlink connection that we just got today. That's the only reason we're able to hear and communicate with you guys right now, because there's absolutely no cell service at all in this whole area.
These huge hurricane-strength gusts of wind,
Here we go. That's what I was talking about as I was driving through Palm Springs.
Big rigs were getting knocked over. And what's worse, it was impacting the fire department's air drops of water.
Extreme events. Okay. Non-linear. Okay. So what this is saying is that as the factors that affect the overall risk score, so it's windy, it's dry out, we're not managing the brush, the forests, or we're preserving them because of the policies in the state of California for preservation, sort of conflicting with our ability to protect ourselves and reduce risk for fires. Yeah. All those things have a massive impact, and since it's non-linear, it's not like when the winds go up from 5-10 miles an hour to 40-50. I don't know why it went up, but just to demonstrate, when the winds go up like that, it's not like the risk is going like this. It's more like the risk is going 0.1%, 1%, 3%, 2%. 5, 10, 15, 15%. It's insane. It's just going to jump. So 15%, that means once every 7 years, you're going to have a fire in that moment. So you have a 15% chance of a wildfire happening in a period when there's insane winds like that. Reach 100 mile per hour gusts. Oops, I put change, but I think it'll understand me. Oh my gosh. 12%. In real life, a fire occurs. Oh, okay. This, what? Over the last week, we've been hovering around a 10 to 30% chance of a wildfire. So on a given day, you may be approaching a 1 in 3 chance of a wildfire occurring, causing damage to a home. That's insane. Premium of 300,000 annually. Wow. So that's pretty nuts. When you're sitting on a 30% chance of a wildfire occurring, yeah, it's pretty hard to ensure that. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but that's insane.
Jesus. Oh my God, the wind.
Where even from point blank range, they were still missing. Now, some of these choppers were straight snipers with their water drops.
This and look at that drop there. Oof, wow. That was beautiful.
Straight 360 no-scoping these flames at nighttime. So much appreciation to all the emergency workers out there, pulling nonstop hours as this isn't even close to being over. As in Los Angeles, I imagine every agency's ground-level guys are going to be fighting their chain of command every step of the way, as we haven't seen a fire disaster this bad since what happened in Maui, which was alarmingly just over a year ago. And like,
I just wanted to play this clip too. It was nuts.
Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school.
I don't usually eat sweets, but I got these sitting in the office and I'm craving them. It's okay. I'm going to the gym soon.
Governor, please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the
Why is the president not taking your call?
because it's not going through.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now, and it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm really devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why is there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
It's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do? Fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that. I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not.
Would.
I see there's water dripping over there, Governor. There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people are safe.
Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact?
That's just. Was this taken into account? Yeah, super. Specifically, I wanted to know the effect on number 2. Essentially, human-controlled factors to be optimized. What are the differences? Okay, I've taken one final piece of information in consideration, and that is that, wow, we could have potentially had. I'm gonna include all this. I did one additional calculation looking at a few other risk factors, and I also did a calculation if we had optimized everything possible to be done on the human end, reducing fuel load, meaning that we are actively managing the brush and the forest to minimize the risk of wildfires, so on and so forth. And this is just obviously a rough calculation, but what I'm getting is that we would have had an 80%, almost 81.5% lower chance of the wildfire occurring. and that's about 5.4 times less likely, coming down from 40%. So that's massive. Wow. I'm kind of speechless, but yeah, my thoughts are going out to everyone affected by this, and we're not too far away from this. So this is possible even not too far away from where I am, which is freaky. So yeah, who knows? As I think this over, maybe I'll have a third part to this, but for now, I think that was a really interesting just examination of like what the likelihood is of a fire occurring. And the messed up part is that it actually happened. It's happening now. Hope everyone's doing okay. I mean, this is going to be an impact permanently on LA for 5 to 10 years at least, or even things just change forever now with the level of damage that we're seeing. I'll also include, somehow I'll export this chat log or something for anyone curious or interested.